174.
At Jared.Denzel, his Instagram post. JARED.DENZEL. And here it share, subscribe, and share. Please and thank you.
So September is Suicide Prevention Month, and I've shared in the past how I had a friend that died from suicide and how I've also struggled with my own thoughts of suicide. I remember one night back when I was in New York City, things had got really, really bad. And I remember out of my mouth trying to convince myself that I didn't want to die. Because in my head, I felt like I had reached this breaking point. It was just a lot going on. And I kept saying over and over, I was like, but I don't want to die. I don't want to die. It's odd to think that you have to try to convince yourself to live, but that's just where I was at that time. And I know a lot of people get to that point. I'm doing better now, but I'd be lying if I said I don't still sometimes have those thoughts. I think when you struggle with depression, your mind can go to really dark places. But I'm proud of me for still being here. And if you struggle with thoughts of suicide, I'm proud of you for still being here too. My perspective on life is this, that it doesn't stay bad forever. But if you're no longer here, you'll never get to experience how good it can be. So even though it's tough, try to hold on.
So true. Oh, right. And basic complexity, you're up first, friend.
All right. Well, first off, I will say I definitely agree with them, and even though it's not something I lambast or always throw out there, in all honesty, and this being over 10 years ago, I actually was thinking about suicide. Um, and yeah, it was like on my mid 20s, and yeah, I at that time, and this being the during the recession, more or less, I couldn't seem to find a job, and I had bills piling up and whatnot. But yeah, I thought about it, and I realized that what I was doing, I was either intentionally or unintentionally trying to find every excuse under the sun to not do it. And then you would think that I, during that summer, when I got diagnosed with MS or multiple sclerosis, that would have been it for me, but not. That was actually kind of happy on some level because I was like, all right, I don't have to totally struggle alone anymore. And more or less, I got moved in. My mom took me in, like, with me being her first child. Yeah, she took over, and I was fine with that. Yeah, and I'm sorry, that's what I have.
Hmm. A number of people out there have considered suicide, and I'm one of them multiple times. And even a time in my mid 30s. And I remember one day I came home and my multiple sclerosis diagnosis bills had piled up so much. Like I was just I don't know what to do about this situation, and I considered thoughts of suicide. And TV really glamorizes suicide. In TV movies, because it's like somebody's like, "Oh, I can't take it. Goodbye, cruel world," and they take a bottle of pills or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I'm out of here," and that's all there is to it. But that's not always how it goes. And I remember FOTF. I don't know what that is. Oh, Focus on the family. Right. Back in my prude days, I used to listen to this podcast, my prude slash conservative days. I used to listen to this podcast called Focus on the Family. And this one guest that they had is a woman who was a paraplegic. How did she become a paraplegic? Not able to move any of her limbs at all. She became a paraplegic because she attempted suicide when she was younger. And she was like, I'm going to get run over by a train. I'm over it. I'm going to get run over by this train. And I'm going to put it all behind me and I'm going to be good. And she said that she got on the train tracks as the train was coming, and the train rolled the F over her, and she lived. Not only did she live, but she went from being like a swimming star to being a paraplegic. And it's like you think about in relation to your struggles, putting them behind you. It's like, what if your attempt at suicide to make life easier for you just actually makes your life uh, many times harder because of that suicide? It's like, that's not really it. And I'll finish it in my 1 minute. I've barely gotten through it. I'll finish it in my 1 minute. All right, basic complexity. Oh, you went first. Did you want in 1 minute?
No.
Yeah, everybody's body is different. So your body won't necessarily end with your taking a bottle of pills. You might be too strong for that. You might be too weak for that. Who knows? But also, you never know who needs you. We need you. We need you here. Don't leave us like that, okay? And I remember this song by Karen Clark Sheard that I love from her Finally Karen album, called I Can't Take It. And one of the verses, she starts off with, I wish I had a second chance. And that song, the whole song is from the perspective of somebody who committed suicide. She's like, I wish I had another chance. You know, I would fervently seek your hand. You are loved. You are needed. Stay with us, please. Thank you very much. Don't give up. And also, I remember my former mental health counselor, who actually worked in forensics, explaining that there would be times that they would come to suicide scenes because, again, she worked in forensics, and you would see the person who committed suicide with their hands around, try to hang themselves with their hands around the neck, around the rope, trying to pull it out because they realized that they do have something to live for, but they didn't realize it until the end. And that's a struggle, you know? And so you do have a reason. It, you have a reason. Not only is it because we need you, but you have a reason for living because you are important. You're worthy. You're valid. Yes. Stay with us. We can make it. We can do it. We can make it. Don't cut your lifeline short.
Exactly.
Don't. Because you never know what's ahead. You
Yep.
know? Thank you. Thank you.
You can't live off of what's already happened, or could even say the past, because the past might not seem great, but you don't want to completely cut off your future.
Right. Because your future might be the brightest thing ever. And
Exactly.
you'll never know.